In this video, I thought I would showcase my Space Wolves Codex. Then you take a look at what's inside, what to expect, and if this is something that you really need in order to play the game. Alright, well, let's take a look. Well, first, let's go ahead and flip it over. So we can take a look at the back. Little. All right. Now, for me, one of the biggest benefits from these codexes is not really the rules that they give, because while it is especially important for named characters that you might order, because a lot of times those do not come with a rule sheet, especially the resin cast or the fine cast ones, but it is for all of the great art and lore for the different chapters or factions or whatever that you'll have in it. One of the other great things is that this book shows, the world, but then it goes for a lot of those named characters, and there's actual large little sections for each one. Gives you good info for all the different companies, which will help you, design your teams and give them, shoulder pads or whatever. Let's see if we can get to where we talk about some of those. There we go. See, this is what I'm talking about. We have nice, long, great art, long narrative, some backstory of a lot of these named characters. Love all that. And all the different little support. So now let's take a look. Let's jump ahead a little bit. And we start getting into one of the other really nice features is it starts showing some great art, great painted miniature versions of it. So if you need good examples, if you're painting up some of these guys, it's a great place to go to find out what some of these guys looks like, especially some of the ones that they haven't done videos on. Hey, Mittens, co-host Mittens. There we go. And then finally, we start getting into all those rules. A lot of times, a lot of these guys, again, you can find these rules within the kits that come out, but some of them, especially like these fine cast ones, you can't find them. So, of course, you're wondering, is this something that you really need? Do I need these rules to be able to play the guys? Honestly, no. There's a lot of online sources. Battlescry, for example, that you can put your guys in there, and they have, all the different rules and stats, and they'll come up with it for you. One of the things that really makes, to me, this fun, having the book fun, is that when you are building your army, sometimes it's just fun to just, be able to go through the book, flip it around, actually have something, physical that you're looking at when designing your armies. Then the other thing you might wonder is if you have, say, this, do you need this one? Because, technically Space Wolves is a chapter of just the overall Space Marines. And yes, if you're playing Space Wolves, you would probably want to go with the more exact, codex, not the overall one. And you will see there are some examples like the Intercessor Squad. Just a real quick example. The Dreadnought, specifically, like I said, the Vulnerable Dreadnought is different. There are some different items and stats and everything between just your standard Space Marines and, say, the Space Wolves. So you would want to get this one over just a standard book. Luke's the Trickster. And like I said, and again, it's especially useful for, like I said, like Lucas we just saw a few minutes ago, or seconds ago, for those kind of guys who don't get rules for. And then finally, towards the back, it then also has all the numbers for, here we go, for the weapons, especially very, like Space Wolf specific items. Again, great little art when trying to come up with ideas of how you're going to do it up yourself. So these kind of things really come in handy. When you're planning out your guys and coming up with points and deciding, what you want. And at the very back, because if you notice when it showed all those numbers, a lot of times it just showed, just shows values, the min, max, and all that kind of stuff. The point values are in the very back. There we go. So this is where you go to get the points for everything. So if you're flipping through and you're looking through the different units, you're like, oh, but how much do they cost? Point wise, that's where you find them in the back. So that is the Space Wolves Codex. Again, very useful, especially for the lore, and mainly for when you're building your armies, not as much when you're playing. Again, for me personally, I like being able to flip through back and forth when trying to decide who, what I want to put in, how I want to figure them up. I just enjoy using the book, doing it myself, and seeing it all a lot better than my app, my Battle Scry or whatever. So hope you found it useful, and it may help you to decide and if this kind of an item is something that you would want. I don't regret it. I really do like the codexes. I've got a couple of them. Like you said, you've seen my Space Marines. I'll probably show a couple of the other ones off as well. But until next time, hope you enjoyed.